Thank you for joining us for Family Basics 101. I'm Dr. Bruce McClure, the local minister at the Prince George's Church of Christ, and we're located at 7800 Central Avenue in Landover, Maryland. Throughout the week, we will look at the topic of relationships, and we will discuss the importance of relationships and just give simple tips throughout the week on how to develop relationships and also why we should develop relationships. Here's tip number two. We should develop relationships because, believe it or not, a healthy relationship is really important to our health. In a study conducted by the National Institute of Health and recorded in the U.S. National Library of Medicine in a publication of July 27th, 2010, it was concluded that social relationships, quality and quantity, have been linked not only to mental health, but also to morbidity or diseases, and also mortality, to death. As humans, all of us are designed to be socially connected to others. While technology, and this is really an irony, while technology makes global connectivity instantaneous, meaningful relationships are dramatically on the decline. Uh, with technology, we are just inches away from the world, whether it's in the United States or any other continent. With technology, just instantaneously, we can connect. Yet, many no longer live within extended family communities. Many are delaying marriage. Many have dramatically reduced the number of children, even in marriages. Many individuals are making the choice to live alone and enjoy casual relationships. Uh, Loneliness is escalating while electronic communication is accessible to everyone. Uh, and because of that, we may say we have great relationships, but the truth of the matter is we do not. The relationship with human beings appear to be on the decline, while relationships with technology is on the rise. When we look at a question that is not really asked during a physical exam, you have to take pause and begin to wonder, well, why isn't this part of most physical examinations? And it's a relationship question that, for the most part, most physicians do not ask. Individuals who are willing to take social risk lowered the likelihood of death and other physical and mental illness. Uh, in other words, just taking the risk of saying, I'm going to go out today and I'm going to interact with people. Although I'm uncomfortable with it, although I've been hurt by that, although I would rather people leave me alone, I would rather be left alone.
Yeah.
Individuals who are
What
willing
you're
to
hearing is the midday lesson that we get. But I'm trying to see if I can turn the sound down.
physical and mental illness. Also, it was found that individuals with stronger social relationships had a 50% increased likelihood of survival than individuals with weaker social relationships. Uh, that's a big one. Just by taking the risk to have social interaction with others, it was found through the NIH research that individuals with stronger social relationships had a 50% increased likelihood of survival, survival of different things than those who were not involved in healthy social relationships. Uh, well, social relationships or the relative lack thereof constitute a major risk factor for health, rivaling the effect of many established risk factors. Now, listen to this. We think of things such as cigarette smoking causing lung cancer, high blood pressure, obesity, and the lack of physical activities causing morbidity and death. But again, within this study from NIH, social relationships or the lack thereof really constitute the major risk factor for health situations. And it can be at or greater than the risk factors of smoking, the risk factors of high blood pressure, obesity, or the lack of physical activities. See, when we go in for our physical examinations or go in for other health checks, is the question ever raised, how are you doing with social relationships? What is your social life like? How do you interact with other people? Rarely is that question asked. And yet, a tip that I would give is for our own physical and mental and spiritual health. Relationships are very, very important. Uh, People will conclude that, well, my job is my social outing. No, your job is your job. Uh, what about after work? What about before work? See, work is typically only about 8 hours a day, but there are 24 hours in a day. So what do you do relationally for your own mental health, for your own socialization? Let me share with you a story about relationships and what was missing in such a level in this relationship that the participant, Naomi, conceded. The lack of what I have been accustomed to in the past is causing me sickness in the present. In Ruth chapter 1, verses 18 through 21, when Naomi saw that Ruth was determined to go with her, she said nothing more. Now you have to keep in mind, Naomi has lost her husband to death, and she's lost her two sons to death. And one of her daughter-in-laws, Oprah, has gone back home. So she's left with Ruth. That's all she has is Ruth. But I want you to see the bigger picture of what social relationships used to be. And now she's down to just she and Ruth. And it's impacting her. So the two of them continued their journey, headed back to Bethlehem, Judea. When they came to Bethlehem, the entire town was excited by their arrival. Is it really Naomi? The women asked. Don't call me Naomi, she responded. Instead, call me Mara, for the Almighty has made life very bitter for me. Why is she bitter? Because her social circle, her husband, her daughter-in-laws, her sons, it has been shattered. And it's going to take a risk in order for Naomi to go back and rebuild that which she has lost. I went away full, but the Lord has brought me home empty. Well, home is filled with opportunities for resocialization, for reconnecting, for building more relationships. But it will require Naomi to be willing to take risk putting herself out there, risk dealing with loss all over again. But Naomi will have to make some choices. People can't make these choices for her. Remember, Ruth is traveling with her, and Naomi won't even talk to Ruth. And such as it is with us, it's our choice to either become recluse or to venture out and say, you know, today is the day that I'm going to take the chance of developing a better relationship. This is applicable in the home. This is applicable for singles. This is applicable for divorcees. This is applicable for everyone. In a church setting, people can be in a church filled with people and really not be in a meaningful relationship. And I have seen this with my own eyes, where people will come back and say, well, I come to church and nobody reaches out to me. Nobody says hello to me. The greater challenge is, on one hand, I understand that. But then on the other hand, does that also imply that individuals do not want to risk being rejected, so they will not approach people to try and develop a relationship? Many times it may be an indicator of, I'm not really sure about myself. I'm angry with myself. I'm angry with others because I've been hurt in relationships. And I don't want to take the risk to personally put myself out there again. I want you to stay with me the entire week as we continue to give just little tips along the way about why relationships are important. And secondly, how maybe you can make the change, the risk to develop good relationships. I'll see you back in class again tomorrow. Don't be late and don't skip class.